Well, everybody, we just did our ACC reaction video. Now, you all know what it is time for. It's time for ACC week number 6 predictions. At the end of this year, I will, of course, be doing my full record reveal. So stay tuned. Rivalry week, we'll probably have that ready sometime by that. That's going to be a huge reveal, so stay tuned for that one. But if you are new to the channel and don't know what we do here, we are, of course, the Sports Lovers, where we talk pretty much everything relating to sports. Right now, the Cubs are playing the Padres right now and losing 3-0, but it is what it is. They'll get the win, hopefully, tomorrow in game number 3. However, if you are new here, we do talk about sports every single day. We have college football reactions and predictions for each Power 4 conference throughout the week, and then, of course, predict the games once we react to them. So if you're interested in that, into any of it, hit that sub button, leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. This is the 3rd video in 3 hours, guys. So we're posting pretty much daily here on the channel. We, of course, are going to be having our NFL reaction or NFL prediction video later today, so stay tuned for that. Sorry for not having reactions for the NFL, but yesterday it was just a crazy busy day, so hopefully you guys understand. Still was able to get my Big 12 reactions in and predictions in, but of course yesterday was just way busy, way busier than what I thought it was going to be. So yeah, we'll probably react to the NFL games tomorrow, or next week, so stay tuned for that. Hit that sub button, leave a comment down below. We will, of course, tomorrow have our AHSA prediction video out, so stay tuned for that. We'll also do our ACC Big 10 reactions and predictions, and then Friday we'll do reactions and predictions, and of course play a little college football 26. So if you're interested in that, hit that sub button, leave a comment down below. Without further ado, let us go ahead and hop into these ACC week number 6 predictions. Alright, so kicking us off on Saturday, if you guys don't know how we do these, we just roll through them for the most part and talk about each one and give our little thoughts on what's going to happen. So hit that sub button, leave a comment down below if you are interested in that one. Boston College on the road to Pittsburgh. This, man, is going to be such a doozy of a game. We don't have the amount of insanely good games that we do this past weekend. Last weekend, we were treated to an absolute banger weekend of college football. This weekend, not so much, but maybe there will be some upsets in there, of course, this weekend. But we got Boston College going into Pittsburgh. This is going to be a very interesting one, and I'm very curious to see which defense is going to step up, because obviously both offenses are pretty terrible, but if one of these teams' defenses can get the job done, then they will go on to win this game. I'm going to take Boston College here to get the win. I think they're better than Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh can definitely get the win at home. Give me Boston College, as they will get the job done on the road at Pitt. Now, moving on to the next one, and this is going to be an absolute banger of a matchup, and I don't really care what these two teams' records are. It is Clemson going into North Carolina. Bill Belichick led North Carolina. Gio Lopez has been struggling. I'm very interested to see how he fares against a Clemson defense that is projected to be insanely good this year. I'm very curious to see how Cade Klubnik is going to respond this year. He has been having himself a down year right now. They only have one win on the year so far. They have 3 losses, obviously one being to LSU, but they've had some tough losses in there. They stuck it out against Troy, but I'm very curious to see if they can step it up and turn on the Jets in this game against North Carolina. I don't think they do. I think Gio Lopez and North Carolina get their first big-time win and escape this one in a 27-24 type of game. This is going to be a very good one to follow this weekend, and I cannot wait for it. 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. Now, moving on to the next game here. The CW is actually carrying this one. It is Wake Forest going into Virginia Tech. Again, some doozy matchups this week, guys, in the ACC. But hey, it is what it is, because the banger of the week is going to be at night in this conference, which we'll talk about here in a second. However, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, very curious to watch both this game here. I'm very interested to follow this game and keep up with it, just because to see kind of how both offenses are doing. Virginia Tech obviously has been struggling a little bit, so has Wake Forest, but Wake Forest played a heck of a game on Saturday against Clemson. I think that Robbie Ashford leads this team on the road to a victory against Virginia Tech. I think it's going to be a very tight one, just like last week, but I expect Robbie Ashford and company to get the job done on the road at Virginia Tech in that matchup there. Of course, that one is at 12 o'clock on the CW network on Saturday. So very interested to check that one out. Now, The ESPN Plus game of the week is Campbell 1-4, NC State 3-2. NC State been struggling every now and then, but I expect NC State to get this win. I do. I really like the defense that NC State has. They are pretty decent on the defensive side of the ball. When it comes down to it, though, how's the offense going to look for this NC State squad? I'm very curious to watch Bradley, the quarterback, this week, of course, bouncing back after that week's loss last week in their matchup. Give me NC State. They should be able to take care of business at home in this matchup against Campbell, especially when it's on ESPN+. Now, moving on, this one's very interesting as well. This is probably going to be one of the better matchups of the early slate week in ACC conference play. We got Virginia going into Louisville. Miller Moss has been balling out. Also, Morris, the quarterback for Virginia, has been balling out. This game's going to be about, can the defense step up? And Virginia played a heck of a game on Friday night this past week against Florida State. I'm very curious to watch Virginia's offense and how they manage this game against Louisville's defense. And I'm very curious for Virginia's defense, how they're going to handle Miller Moss. Are they going to put a quarterback spy on him? Are they going to kind of play man-to-man and see if he can't make a couple of good throws in there and force the ball to him, or force him to throw the ball down the field? So I'm very interested in that aspect of things. If you're Louisville, just play your brand of football, and I believe that they will be able to get the job done. I'm going to go with Virginia here to get the quote-unquote upset of the week, but this game does favor Louisville at 6.5 with Virginia being ranked. I expect the Cardinals to get the job done behind their quarterback, Miller Moss, at home in that matchup. Now, moving on to the next game on Saturday, of course, we got Syracuse at SMU. This is going to be interesting because Jennings and Engel have been playing pretty decent football throughout this season. Now, it hasn't been the two seasons that they want, or the seasons that they want for their squads right now, with SMU coming off of that loss to Baylor, of course. Haven't started ACC play yet, and Syracuse coming off of that blowout loss to, of course, the Duke Blue Devils on this past Saturday. So I'm very curious to watch both of these squads. I'm very curious to see how it's going to be. I'm going to go with SMU, though, behind Jennings. I think Jennings is built different. I think he can run, he can throw, whatever he needs to do for the SMU Mustangs to, in fact, get the job done on the road, at home against a very good Syracuse team in this matchup on Saturday afternoon. Now, let us go ahead and predict the nightcap before we talk about the main prime time game. The nightcap, the Duke Blue Devils going into the California Golden Bears, and this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. I think this is going to be a low-scoring type of matchup, but I think it's going to be very interesting. Duke, obviously, coming off a big-time win against Syracuse. Cal is on fire right now. They're 4-1 to start the year. I'm very interested to see which team is going to go or make the stop to get the job done. I think it's Cal. I think Cal gets the win at home and shocks a lot of people and improves to 5-1 on the year in ACC play. Now, let us talk about the banger of a matchup this week on Saturday night. It's Miami, Florida State, the Sunshine State rivalry. One of my buddies is actually going to be going to this matchup, and I'm very jealous of it. He always goes to Miami, Florida, because he's a Miami fan. Miami should be able to take care of business, but Thomas Castellanos this week is going to be absolutely pissed that they lost to Virginia, and I'm very curious to see how the offense for Florida State can respond against a very talented Miami defense. Antonio Kite, one of the Auburn transfers for that Miami defense, is, of course, one of the leaders on that defensive side of the ball for the Miami Hurricanes. I like Miami in this one. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think it's going to be a little bit of a more offensive scoring game. I'm going to take a 40 to 45 point game. I would expect this game to be very high scoring. I'm going to go with the Miami Hurricanes, but not by much, because of Carson Beck, because of the leadership that he has. But these two offenses are led by veteran quarterbacks in college football, and this should be a very interesting game, and I'm very curious to see which team is going to make the play on defense to get the team the win. Give me the Miami Hurricanes, as they will close us out in ACC play for the weekend. But you guys, Let me know, of course, your thoughts on this video in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. I'm going to hop off, get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Of course, NFL predictions coming up later today, so stay tuned for that one. Hit that sub button, leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Tomorrow, we'll probably have 3 or 4 videos in there, and then Friday, of course, we'll be playing college football and talking a little SEC ball. So stay tuned for that one. Hit that sub button, leave a comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.